Fatality.
This is the Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
31 years ago, we had our base of operations just down the street from where you are at Gladstone's as we were covering the old Topanga Canyon fire. I mean, this keeps happening year after year after year. How is it that it keeps happening? Trump back in 2020 was very critical of California for not enforcing rules to clear underbrush and make sure that the forest's floors were clean to stop these fires from spreading so rapidly. Why does this keep happening again and again?
Why? There's a multitude of reasons, right? But number one, this fire in Pali started in a residential area. That didn't have anything to do with the wildfires that we often do see that start in the national forest or in the what we call the urban-rural interface,
really?
where a lot of people have moved into, and frankly, they don't take proper care and don't put surrounding their homes and take care of it like that. But we now have, and this isn't going to really answer your question, but we have a year-round fire season. Right now, we've got marginal rain the last few months. I think you can blame California on something, but other things, I don't want to say it's Mother Nature. I haven't looked at the total statistics for number of acres burned, but in a situation like this, as I said, when it starts in the middle of a community, you're going to have problems. The other problem that is related, of course, is insurance. Now, that is something you can look at the state and look at responsibility. A lot of people have been kicked off their policies. I got kicked off, had to go to a state plan, and some people in the Palisades and Malibu are going without fire insurance altogether. So gosh only knows, but these homes here along the water, these are $10 million homes and up. Some of the Palisades, we're looking at $30 million up in the Riviera area, right? So this is going to be a very, very, very expensive fire.
Oh, isn't that fascinating that Fox News had to correct Donald Trump, that Fox News actually had to have one of their California-based reporters phone it in and say, this is not a wildfire. This happened in a residential area. This has nothing to do with, the Paradise Fire or the Camp Fire or the Park Fire. This is not that. This started, and that was like a little clue, this started in a residential area. Isn't that fascinating, everybody? Don't you think that's interesting? So you know what? Elon Musk is tweeting, he's retweeting Donald Trump, who said, Governor Gavin Newsom refused to sign the water restoration declaration put before him that would have allowed millions of gallons of water from excess rain and snowmelt from the north to flow daily into many parts of California, including the areas that are currently burning in a virtually apocalyptic way. He did that to protect a virtually worthless fish called a smelt by giving it less water. It didn't work, but didn't care about the people of California. Okay, again, let's review, because I had to retweet this. I don't really mess around on that freaking sewer of a platform anymore. But there is no such thing as a water declaration resolution. And I just quoted that tweet and said that and tagged Elon Musk. He couldn't give a flying fig what I do, okay? But if enough people see it and they get it out there, maybe everybody will understand that there is no such thing, that and that it has absolutely, what are you going to do? You're going to build an aqueduct that is, 1,000 miles long to get snowmelt down to San Bernardino? What the hell is he talking about? And people just repeat it. They just repeat it. They just say it like it's a thing. That's possible. How you transferring this water again? Like how you getting it into the fire hydrants? I'm not sure. They don't know what they're talking about, but they just want to blame the Democrat. You know why? Maybe California will be in play. Maybe it will. Maybe. Trump always, I can get New York to vote for me. I just, either that or he just really, really despises people that didn't vote for him. But so here's the thing, okay? Florida, which is run by a Republican governor, as we all know, Ron death sentence. He's still our governor. And we don't have flood insurance in this here state. We barely have homeowners insurance in this state. Most people in this state who paid into their homeowners policies for years and years and years were now thrown into a state insurer of last resort called Citizens. And Citizens is pretty much bankrupt. The same thing happened in California with fire insurance. The insurance, State Farm, I believe, was the biggest insurer issuing fire insurance policies in California. And now people are thrown into the state insurance plan. And they're about to go insolvent, okay? But they don't want to talk about it. Now, here's the thing. Don't worry about the people who actually owned houses, like James Woods, okay, who is a climate denier. He's a climate change denier. Well, these 100-mile-an-hour winds would, actually be evidence to the contrary. But okay. I saw his house. Nice spot, right? But the house was kind of an eyesore. Really, it's like I don't know, it looked like an old 50s Rambler, sort of a cottagey thing. Green, it's got green siding. It's just whatever. It's my opinion. I don't like your house. I think it's freaking hideous. But it's in a great spot. And guess what the value of that house is? Is it the ugly house? No, it's the great spot. It's the land. And the same thing for the people across the road on the beach. Okay? Those are houses that were $10 million, if you wanted to buy them. But what you were buying wasn't necessarily the house. It's the land. It's the lot. It's the spot. And so without fire insurance, they'll be able to rebuild based on the value of the land, take a loan that way or whatever. So I'm not going to be weeping for James Woods. I do feel bad for Billy Crystal and his wife Janice because they lived in that house for 40 some odd years, 45 years. And that's where they raised their kids. And that's where they raised their grandkids. And that house is gone. Gone. If they wish to rebuild, they got a good spot. And I'm sure they can because of the way that their financials are situated. However, that's a sad thing. And also what's sad is not the loss of the property in that particular area. What's sad there is the loss of the neighborhood, the loss of the neighbors, being next to each other, who have relationships, who watch their children walk to school together for years and years, who know their postal service worker, who know their mailman. I know my mailman. Her name is Liz, okay? Like stuff like that, built-in stuff, relationships, tangible connections to a life. That's what's gone. And I think that's what is so depressing. And that you have a president who's willing to glom onto people who are literally suffering through this unbelievable loss of human neighbors, of humankind, of a way of life, of a place where you raised your children, a place where you were raising your grandchildren, a place where your children may have inherited your house. All that literally up in smoke, as Cheech and or Chong might say. That's the sad, horrible truth of what you're watching there. Everything else is brick and mortar, but the idea that you can't get insurance. Now, why is that important? And why is it important that Ron DeSantis is a Republican and Gavin Newsom is a Democrat? And in both these states, which are obviously suffering from the effects of climate change, you can't buy insurance anymore. You can't buy homeowners insurance anymore. One, because of the hurricanes and the floods, and the other side of the country because of the fires that happen now in residential areas by the beach. You saw it in Lahaina, and now you see it here. They can't get insurance. All right, the important part about this conversation is that one governor is Republican and one is a Democrat. So people who are so partisan that they can't hear me need to hear me now. When the insurance companies know that they cannot afford to get you through climate change anymore, when they know that climate change is going to bankrupt their company because they're making insurance policies for people who are showing the effects of climate change in their zones, in their areas. When the insurance companies know, that means everyone knows. That means that you don't listen to James Wood or any of these climate deniers. You listen to the insurance companies who are saying, I'm not making policies there. I'm not writing a policy there. We'll lose our shirt. We can't possibly survive it. Climate change is real. That's what's important. Don't have time to listen to the live show? Want to hear more on your schedule? Go to randyrhodes.com and buy a stinking podcast.